Welcome to today's video. Looks can be deceiving, most definitely. Take, for example, that petty point. It's not a painting. You could still call it a picture maybe, but it's a petty point. Either my grandmother or mother did that by hand. I think it was my mother. It's done by stitching on a pattern. You get this pattern done on a like, I don't know, kind of like a burlap, a different kind of fine burlap. You stitch it, with the different colors that are recommended. It comes out looking cool. I think you don't see that much anymore. Well, what's deceiving about that picture? Well, looks can be deceiving. It looks straight, but for the video, I had to make it crooked. It's because of the angle of the wall. Yeah, the wall angles into the stairs, and it just, when it's straight, it looks crooked, and when it's crooked, it looks straight. You will see. So I have to make two parts because part one, I wanted to talk about yesterday. Yesterday was, well, when you don't know things, that's always very frustrating. You have that too, don't you? I think everybody does. When they don't know something, what's going on, and they're kind of detached. Well, and they hear one side, and if it's somebody you worry about, like you, yeah. And what concerned, when I came down and I didn't see Timbits here, I was kind of surprised because you would come at 9 to tell me you'd be no later than 10. And I thought, I'm not going to be a dummy. I'm not going to stay up. So I went to bed just after 10. And it was a surprise. And I thought, what happened? And I thought, I hope, you know what my hope was? My hope was, oh my God, I hope you weren't so wound up about what I had asked you to do that, it drove you crazy. Like you've gotten sometimes. Yeah, and that wasn't the case. You could have dropped a note by. You could actually have come by with a note saying, but you said you couldn't bring it. I don't know. You couldn't have called me either. I would have heard it. With a regular ring, I could hear it, and I would come. I don't keep it in the bedroom. I would hear it anyways, and I would come down. But with the ring that's happening right now, it's like on a quiet ring until it gets working. So I was confused, very confused. And then Mommy tells me some things about you being in an argument. I know that makes you emotional because you say you weren't arguing. Well, I don't know. I hear one point of view. I only know that one point of view. And you have not told me anything. You just say, I wasn't. Well, that's defensive. That tells me you probably were and are in denial. So you, no, so my thought is, what did I say, oh, you? But my first thought was, well, actually, what I was upset about, I'm going back. What I was upset about is your refusal to bring it. I really don't care that you didn't. It was concerning. You said you were going to and then didn't. But if you didn't or weren't able to, for whatever reason, I don't care. But I do care. If you know what I mean. But your refusal when Mummy asked, she says several times, not going to mean different things to different people. I assume that was 3 or more times. She said at 10, then 11, and then by the time, then probably more times, and then by the time. But you said you weren't even using it. So if you're not using it, why? Why? If you're not using it, bring it over. With what you got, what you've done, so I can prepare something, an idea to help you for the next day. So I really wasn't able to do anything, but then you were locked in the house, which through no fault of your own. And that sort of, but was a different experience. But I understand there's difficulties you're having, okay? But there's also the thing you can't refuse something like that. That's not going to be tolerated. If you do that again, we're going to go strictly old school. Not strictly, we'll go old school with a twist. We'll trade phones for a week. And you won't have the use of Timbits for a week. So you'll be shut out of that kind of thing. On the weekend, you'll be allowed to chat with somebody for maybe 2 hours, and that's it. That's a punishment. Because refusing something simple like that, oh, I won't, or whatever, I don't mind delaying 30 minutes. Oh, let me finish this up. But upon the second request, you should say, okay, fine. Oh, I'm not using it anyway, so why should I do that? I think you were in conversation at the time when Mummy asked, and you didn't want to break away from that conversation to simply return something you weren't using. But I think the old school method wasn't bad. How was it yesterday? Most educational videos you can watch on YouTube. That can still be directed. The desk. You don't have to have Timbits there all the time. Where do you put your school books when Timbits is there? Well, I don't know. I don't think there's much room. You can put it aside. That's fine. So perhaps in order to go over your school books, your textbooks, if you didn't have Timbits there, well then you do that. Imagine if this was 1979. What would you do? Well, what would have happened in 1979? We had VHS things, you know, those big things they put into a VHS player. Your lesson might have been, your video lesson or lecture or whatever would have been on there. You would have plugged it in and listened to it, pause, take notes, do the same thing you could do as with on a video on YouTube. And then you would go to your desk with your textbooks, and you would learn from your textbooks. If you wanted music, well, you've got something to play music. And that means the stereo. Let's just call it a stereo. I don't know what to call it. I hate the word boombox, but you got that. So you would use that. If you want music. For you, I recommend some kind of exterior distraction to keep you focused on what you're doing. But I could be wrong. You have to tell me. Okay? So, if that happens again, 1 week, gone. That stuff is gone. And you'll have one day for 2 hours. You'll be able to chat with a friend on the weekend only. And that would resume the following day. So that will not be tolerated anymore. So, what do you think? Well, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Well, Baby Stiggy, you weren't supposed to appear till the jungle chat. Oh, sorry. Yeah. That won't be tolerated, Baby Stiggy. It will not. You'll be punished. I'm putting you into the T-Rex cage. They looking hungry. But T-Rex is running around when I... Oh, yeah. You got me. But wait a minute. A lot of these things run around when you were existing. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. You gonna do it next time? Good, Baby Stiggy. Good.